I welcome my select viewers to my 113th video of my YouTube channel Writer Sandhanam Speaks. Today is the Aradhana day of the unique sage of modern age, G Krishnamurti. UG to us, who is increasingly taken note of by the spiritually serious minded audience, including the YouTube viewers. UG never wrote a book, but his authentic voice was recorded whenever possible by his admirers all over the world. And this voice and visuals is being put out in the YouTube channel media regularly by them. My talk is incidental. The self-effacing UG once remarked. When UG passed away in his 88th year at Veli Crozier, Italy, on this day, that is 22nd March in 2007, he left no exclusive message for humanity. Quote, I am no Messiah and there is no message for humanity, he proclaimed. Is there really no message from him? Not so. Every sentence he spoke during his post-enlightenment years had some message or the other. Please listen to this sentence, which is the subject of my talk today. This is a UG calendar. Be selfish, stay selfish. That is my message. Wanting enlightenment is selfishness. The rich man's distributing charity is also selfishness. He will be remembered as a generous man. You will put up a statue of him there. This strange sage of our times who looked like one of us, lived an ordinary life, shunning publicity. Born with a silver spoon in his mouth into a prosperous family in Andhra Pradesh, he ended up a pauper and a total renunciate during his search for enlightenment, abandoning his family midway like Buddha. But admired by his global friends, including his lifelong friend Mr. Madam Valentine, he was taken care of by them, and as a gesture of gratitude, he talked to them on matters spiritual and answered their so-called profound questions. All your questions are silly questions. Life is very simple, and without living it, you are complicating it by imposing your views on and ideology on it. UG scolded them. He once requested his biographer and long-time associate, the famous film producer Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, to ensure nothing should remain after me. But following his death, books after books were written containing his unusual, shocking observations. On the occasion of releasing posthumously my Tamil translation of his English book, G Krishnamurti, A Life, at Bengaluru, Mr. Bhatt, with a wry smile, reminded the audience of UG's observation that nothing should remain after me. Anyway, I understand my book published by Kannadasan Patibagam Chennai is out of stock, ironically fulfilling UG's wish. On another occasion, UG said, I have no copyright. This was when some rich publishers approached him with a lot of money in exchange for the copyright of publication. No genuine sage sells his words. Later, others sold the books on him, but UG had no hand in it. I was one of the very few lucky audience who listened to his unedited, authentic live voice in person for 3 summers during 2003, 4 and 5 at the residence of his permanent host Mr. Chandrasekhar at Bengaluru. Along with him, I am ever indebted to my introducer to UG, my erstwhile official boss Mr. Frank Norona, during one summer. During all these years, I was blessed to hear the horse from its own mouth and paid my spiritual debt to him by translating his biography, besides putting out a few YouTube videos on him, being very well received by the global audience despite some criticism. My interest on listening to UG was based on my native Tamil wisdom. His words reminded me of Tamil sages, particularly the poems of Siddhas, who were like UG, rebellious and unconventional in their expressions. In fact, my understanding of these mystical poems, I found, looked like commentaries on UG's statements, or vice versa. Critical even of Buddha and Jesus, UG, to the big surprise of those present, endorsed happily the statements of Tamil Siddhas, which of course was translated into English by me for the benefit of the audience. Now let me briefly explain the exploding above quoted words of UG: be selfish and stay selfish. How could these narrow-minded words be a message, that too from a selfless sage? Wait, the real message follows. Wanting enlightenment is selfishness, UG's words. In one of my earlier YouTube videos, I had quoted Sri Ramana Maharishi, who said, wisdom cannot be taught en masse. It must be between the teacher and the taught, from self to self, in utter privacy. That to Guru only showing the way, not walking with him. Wisdom or Anubhuti or truth or Brahman or UG's life force has to be discovered by the individual self. Quote, it has to be your own discovery. Nobody gave it to me, UG emphasized. He also warned that the final discovery may not be the seeker's conceived goal. In his case, it was not bliss as he expected, but calamity he stumbled into. He explained that the calamity was not to him, but for the onlookers. Only disease is contagious, not enlightenment. It has to be earned by oneself. Further, only social reforms can be transmitted from society to society, not enlightenment. Quote, it happens to only 1 in a billion. UG proclaimed. If one could read between the lines, UG uses this word selfish, not in the material narrow sense, full of greed, anger and delusion. The Tamil Siddha Patinathar echoes UG in his song, Thani Mudalai Pathirundu Thanithirundu Vazhamal Aniyayamai Pirandungu Alendu Nindren Pooraname. That is, I was born in vain, I roamed about in vain, without living alone, and without looking at the all-encompassing aloneness within me. This aloneness is nothing but the discussed word selfishness. In another song, the same sage says, ஊனுக்குள் நீ நின்று உலாவினதை காணாமல் நானென்று இருந்து நலமழிந்தேன் பூரணமே. O you the full, without diving deep into myself, I mistake you for I, and wasted my life. Quotation ends. On stumbling into enlightenment, which UG termed as the natural state, he observed, quote, after I underwent the biological mutation, when hitherto dormant ductless glands were reactivated at Senin Valley at Switzerland on my 49th birthday, I could not find the coordinator, the interlocutor I. This I, quotation ends, this I is variously referred as ego, self or mind. Actually what happened was, thought, the I coordinator and the mischief maker came to a stop. Be still and know that I am God, says the Bible. This was the universal experience of all the sages. After that, the life force referred to by UG takes over. The small illusory self disappears, and the self with a capital S, the pet word of Sri Ramana Maharishi, starts controlling the body, and the day-to-day life becomes thought-free and trouble-free. Manikya Vasagar, another Tamil sage, pictures this beautifully. தந்தது உந்தன்னை கொண்டது எந்தன்னை சங்கரா சதரர் யார்களோ. O Sangara, by giving yourself up to me, you have taken me away. Who is cleverer, you or me? Anyway, by delving into oneself only, this discovery could be made, not delving into somebody else's self. As mentioned above, the self or aloneness is described as also the primordial consciousness, which UG described as undivided consciousness or natural intelligence. There is a line in Aitareya Upanishad considered as one of the 4 Mahavakyas. It is Prajnanam Brahmam. Brahmam being consciousness or intelligence. It is the only one, not two. To a foreign questioner as to the teaching of Sri Ramana to others, Sri Ramana replied, there are no others for a jnani. Living the life of an avaduta and enjoying his rootless aloneness, UG went about the globe as a traveler without a destination, establishing no institution or ashram, collecting no money, answering questions, exposing the market gurus who were in the firing line of his gun. Wrongly termed as an atheist by some, UG instead of God talked of the inexpressible life force. He passed away with no fear of death at a far off land. Before that, he called to his place all his old friends and hosts, profusely thanked them and said goodbye to them. Quote, there is no death in nature, only reshuffling of atoms, said the biological sage UG. Had I been at Valley Crosia, I would have recited before him, before UG, the Tamil couplet from Taimanavar. தேகம் இரும் என்று ஜடர் தேம்புவது ஏன், நித்திரையில் ஊகம் அறிந்தால் பயமேன் பராபரமே. I would have translated it also. Why does the fool lament that his body will be destroyed? If only he knows the secret of sleep, he will not be afraid. That is, sleep is a daily death. UG's live words, the life force is always ringing in my ears. You cannot capture it, contain it, and give expression to it, was UG's exact words on life force. True UG, I cannot capture you, contain you, and give expression to you fully. But however unsuccessful it may be, I will continue in my mission to do so through my oral and written words, including YouTube like this. Sure. Thank you.